inside your world. I live inside you.
Yo, we are here reviewing Attack on Titan, Chapter 122, and this is a doozy. Mind blown. We find out all of the origins of the Titans, how Ymir got her powers, who the founder Ymir was, why she's a little blind girl walking around in the paths. A lot of mysteries are cleared up. Of course, in classic Isayama fashion, hey, two questions are answered, and three more are posed to us. So I'm just going to start unwrapping the chapter page by page as we go on. It opens up with kind of like a flashback of Krista and Frida when they're reading the book. She's saying, "Oh, you want to be ladylike. You should be a young lady like this girl," where she's pointing to the founder Ymir with the picture of her kind of giving the apple to the devil or getting it from the devil. And then it flashes back to this, I want to say, almost barbarian tribe. It's got a real Viking feel to it, but really at the first panel, it kind of looks like cavemen or really Dothraki from Game of Thrones kind of thing. And you see that Ymir is in chains. Another thing you notice is the other slaves, they're cutting all their tongues out. So Ymir is a mute at the start of this flashback. As for if her tongue grows back with the Titan regenerative powers, I would assume so, but it's not really made clear because she doesn't actually speak in this entire flashback. This character is amazingly fantastic because she says so much with just like a deadpan face, and she does not speak ever. So it's kind of flashing back. Looks like her people were kind of conquered by the original Eldian tribe, which were like a barbarian tribe. She was enslaved, and she's just kind of like a slave in the world as a little girl. And the true enemy of humanity, the fucking pigs, comes to fruition. So they free these pigs. Somebody's freed these pigs. And I guess the tribe leader, he's not a king yet. I wouldn't call him a king. But he's like their tribe leader, their clan leader. He's like, all right, who freed the pigs? If nobody tells me, I'm just going to gouge all your eyeballs out because, slaves don't need two eyeballs. For some unbeknownst reason, all of the slaves decide to point at a little girl, real tough, a little girl with no tongue, which is Ymir, the founder. Obviously, she doesn't say anything because she's mute. I guess nobody liked her because they really kind of sold her out unless she kind of set the pigs free. A lot of memes on the internet now. The pigs started it all. So they point her out, and the clan leader, who we'll find out who that is, I'll explain him in a minute. He says, "Oh, very well, you are free." And he sets her free, and they start chasing her down with dogs and horses, and they're basically feathering her with arrows, chasing her in the woods. It's like some Hunger Games bullshit, most dangerous game, whatever. She falls down. She bleeds a little bit on a flower, which is a big time imagery in Attack on Titan. This blood dripping on a flower goes all the way back to the very beginning. It looks like they might have gouged one of her eyes out. It looks like one of her eyes is bleeding. I don't think they took both of her eyes out because how would she see where she's going? She finds this giant freaking tree. People are saying the tree is Yggdrasil, the tree of life, because Attack on Titan does have a lot of Norse mythology in it, which I could definitely see that. There's a lot of Scandinavian imagery here, especially with the Eldian people. They look like Vikings at some point. But anyway, this tree's got an opening in it, and I'm assuming she's not completely blind because she just kind of walks into the tree. And she walks through the like opening in the tree and falls into, it looks like water. I'm going to say water. It's some sort of gelatinous liquid. We'll go with that. And she's falling, and there's this spine thing, this thing that looks like a spine. It's a very familiar image. We see it when Rainer kind of transfers his consciousness when he gets his head blown off. I guess this is where the Titan power comes from. People are saying it's an alien parasite. Um, you know, Kruger said she came in contact with the source of all organic material. And I guess the source of all organic material is this spine looking thing. So it looks like she's drowning, and this thing kind of attaches itself to her. So I guess she was the first human to come in contact with it. We don't know anything else about her powers, where they come from, other than the fact that it's this spine thing that attached itself to her. So we kind of are still left with some questions, which I believe those questions will not be answered by the end of the manga. But it's just as well. This is just, it's Attack on Titan. There's going to be questions at the end. Anyway, these freaking barbarians are looking for her, and bam, the tree falls and pops out a gigantic fucking Titan, which is ugly as shit. She's got rib cages sticking out. Her face is just a skeleton. There's not even 10 times uglier than the Colossal Titan, and probably the same size as the Rod Reese Titan, a lot of people online were saying. And as I was reading the chapter the first time, I'm like, okay, so this is it. She was a fucking slave, and then shit's about to get good. Next panel, the same chieftain. Now he's armored up. He's got horns and shit, like a Viking. And he says, "Ymir, my slave, you've worked well." And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Why is she still enslaved to this guy? But I guess Stockholm syndrome is a real thing, and slavery is a pretty shitty institution. So yeah, I guess she's just been completely broken and doesn't know anything else but slave life. Think of it like your dog. No matter what you do to your dog's gonna love you and obey you and do whatever you say, even if it's shit scared of you. Dogs be loyal like that, but I guess slaves be loyal like that too. I don't know. I don't really believe in slavery. Never had one. Never wanted one. Anyway, he says, "You opened up the way, cultivated the land, built bridges across the mountains. Our tribe of Eldia has grown considerably large." So a lot of what Grisha was saying when he looked at those chapters back, was true. She did kind of help people. She really helped the Eldians grow into this amazing civilization that they grew in. And then this is really fucked up. He goes, "Hey, here's your reward. You're gonna bear my children." So he said, "You're my slave. You have basically godlike power. You've done whatever I said. Now you can give me kids." Real nice fucking guy over here. And then it shows her in her Titan form, ugly as shit. And it says, in the name of the Fritz, destroy the accursed Marleyans. In the name of the Fritz. This dude was the first Fritz king. He was an Eldian without the power to turn into a Titan, right? But so he was. I'm not going to say her husband, because he was more of her slave owner who kind of used her to procreate. But he was the first Fritz king. So the Eldians actually were pieces of shit. But Ymir was not. And the descendants of Ymir have really, and this is where you realize this, they have, even though that they're called Eldians because they are the Eldian people, they really have been a slave race. They've been used their entire existence just for their power, and they've never really, even as the Fritz kings and queens kind of took that power, that nobody really did anything about it to stop it. It was, a lot of abuse of the Eldian people in the past. Anyway, she fucks the Marleyans up, bad. The heads on spikes. Marleyans are looking pretty dope too. They're basically Romans or Greco-Roman. I'm gonna say Roman because they got the plumes on their head, but they got fucked, dude. So I'm assuming Marley was a powerhouse empire that this tribe of Eldia just grew with the power of Ymir and just decided, we're gonna fuck these guys. Shows her at war, fucking shit up. Then bearing children, giving birth. Back at war, fucking more shit up. Bearing more children, giving more birth. She's got a great life. She's, just bearing children and slaughtering people for this guy mindlessly. Uh, Keep in mind, character does not talk. We never get a lick of dialogue from her. I actually think she doesn't know how to talk, even though her tongue probably grew back from her Titan regenerative powers. I don't think she ever learned how to talk. I don't think anybody ever bothered to teach her language. That's my running theory. So then we have this true, I guess, 300 moment where these, let's call them Spartans, they're lined up in front of King Fritz. We're not getting any dialogue. He's just like, hey, I'm a fucking douchebag. You guys are fucking bowing to me because I'm a douchebag. And then we got fucking Leonidas, and he's standing there, and bam, from the sand, he grabs a spear, and he's like, you are not a god. He doesn't say that because there's no dialogue, but he chucks the fucking spear, and Ymir dives in front of the spear that was going for piece of shit King Fritz. Um, again, Stockholm syndrome. It's a real fucking thing. To her last breath, she dove in front of this dude. You could see in the background the Eldian fucking soldiers slaughtered. We'll call them the Spartans. They're actually Marlians. And then you see King Fritz and his three daughters, Rose, Sina, and whatever the hell the last name was. I'll tell you that in a minute. Yeah, they're looking at the mom, Ymir, and there's the kids are noticeably upset because their mother just got fucked up with a spear. A lot of theories online saying, oh, how did it kill her? It didn't get her in the nape. It didn't get her spinal cord. Maybe it went through her heart. Um, Maybe she lost the will to live because King Fritz, he sits down. So he's not even standing up. He sits down. He goes, what are you doing? Get up. I know you did not die by that spear. So obviously, like, she's had that Titan regenerative powers. But she dies. And his last words to her as she's dying are, get up and work. This is the reason you were born into this world. Our slave Ymir. This guy is the fucking devil himself. He is the literally epitome of why humanity sucks. So again, the three little girls, they're noticeably upset. He is not. He's more like, just get the fuck up, keep working. So she dies. A lot of people in the community think she might have lost the will to live, so that's why, like, her regenerative powers didn't work, like what happened with Raynor. I have a theory that maybe this was the 13th year of having her powers, so she was already kind of dying, and that her regeneration wasn't working like it used to, because maybe the curse of 13 was something that always happened. There are people that believe that the curse of Ymir, the 13-year curse, actually comes from she had her powers 13 years. She died after 13 years of having them, and that's like kind of a curse that went with it. Again, we don't know too much about how these Titan powers work. We just kind of know where she got them, but we don't really know too much more about that. So again, we get that great imagery of the blood drop on the flower, and then these like image of her eye closed, just slowly getting smaller each bit, until in the bottom corner there's like a little fog around her in the coordinate. Same thing that happened when Zeke got fucked up. Really, I love the imagery Isayama uses. I love the foreshadowing that he does in previous chapters, the callbacks to previous chapters. He's a genius writer, and I'm really a big fan of his writing style and his storytelling. So then she's in the coordinate alone. There is no fucking paths. She's just there in this sandy fucking hell, and just like staring into the abyss. It's like, picture the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. And bam, meat cleaver cutting off her freaking hand. And there you have the devil him fucking self, King Fritz, saying, eat, my daughters, whatever it takes. You must inherit Ymir's power. Eat all of Ymir until nothing is left. Maria, Rose, Sheena. So these three little girls ate their fucking dead mother. And like, it's just her skeleton left and her fucking hair. And there's like a hand, like they're literally eating her raw. Like, he didn't even cook that shit. He just fed them it. So I'm assuming what happened was they all kind of ingested her spinal fluid, which gave, they don't turn into Titans from what I could tell right now. Uh, Again, we only get this one shot. It's actually cool because at the end of season 2, they have like almost like a portrait of it, like a painting of it, which a lot of people had theorized that this is how the power got passed down. So this was a popular fan theory. I'm assuming they ingested her spinal fluid and that they each got 3 of the powers. So now her powers have been split instead of into 9 Titans into 3 right now, but we don't. There's a big gap that hasn't been bridged, so I don't really know what's going on with that. And as they eat it, right, she notices something that pops up. That big fucking tree thing that Eren was looking at with all the paths, it pops up and there's the one giant fucking like trunk or yeah, like the trunk. And that's Ymir. And there's 3 branches that come out the top of this tree. And obviously that's Rose, Sheena, and Marie. And this is the beginning of the past. This is how they're all freaking connected. So it starts with Ymir and then her 3 daughters and all of these people that are connected. The Eldian people, they're descended from her. So then it shows him on his deathbed. He's like, my daughters continue to give birth to many children and raise them. We can't let Ymir's blood die out. And it's not like, 2,000 years ago, it's not a out of the question to think about that, if these 3 girls had 1, 2, 3 sons, whatever, you only need one son, that dude can knock up a lot of chicks in one lifetime. He could have a ton of kids, especially that they were conquering, they were raping, they were fucking forcing, they were doing a lot of fucked up shit, which it was true. The aliens were fucked, dude. These were fucked people. But the Titans who were the people descended from Ymir, Ymir was a fucking slave. So she was fucked, and she was actually she was fucked. Okay, and he said, we can't let Ymir's blood die out. When you, my daughters, die, let my grandchildren eat your spine. I don't know how he figured out to eat the spine. I'm gonna say, I guess it was obvious that, like, when one of them ate the spine, they turned into a Titan. And then the other 2 ate the spine and turned into Titans, and they had their Titan powers. So I'm guessing that that's what happened when they, were having that feast on their mother. And then it says, when my grandchildren die, those spines will be passed down from children to children, even in the afterlife. That's some good foreshadowing. He said, Eldia shall rule this world with its Titans. And then you see the 8 other Titan shifters, the OGs, it looks like. You got the fucking Colossal, the Beast, the fucking Warhammer Titan, but he's got a spear for some reason. The Armored, the Attack, the Female. You got the Jaws looking just like it looks now, like badass as fuck. And then you got the Cart Titan, which literally looks like a fucking horse. It's Isayama trolling us, I guess. And it says, and they shall continue to reign forever, as long as our reign knows no end. And then fucking Eren's like, that's it. So I think what happened is Eren made contact with Ymir, and she obviously does have that, quote unquote royal blood. And I think he saw her past, and he was just like, fuck this. He's like, I'm putting an end to this world. Give me your strength. Let's fuck this shit up. Like, fuck these guys. And he's like, you're not a slave. Dude, I love this part. I love this part. They're looking at the tree with all the paths on it. And he just goes, you're not a slave, and you're not a god either. You're just a human being. And that was like, wow. That was really, that was powerful. Isayama, he says some powerful things with his literature. You don't have to serve anyone. You're free to choose. Right? And Zeke's like, fuck, shit, dude, I'm in no control of anything. I'm fucking blonde. And he goes, what did you say? He's Eren, you say you're going to end the world? Stop it. And Zeke's just fucking, he's trying. He's floundering. Zeke is pretty much powerless. But Eren, isn't really taking control either. He says to her, he says, "You're the one to decide. You choose, right? Whatever you want to, to stay here forever or to end it." He's giving her the choice. And, Zeke's like, "Oh, I order you to do this, and I'm the freaking, I'm the royal blood. Listen to me." She's not. Um, and then Aaron kind of like questions something, and he thinks about a lot of what's been happening to him and how these memories have been coming back to him and how he's been we found out last chapter, he's been potentially influencing the past. And he says, "Is it you who led me all the way here?" And then I think he just comes to the realization, like, you've been waiting all this time, 2,000 years, for someone, right? So what I think Aaron is saying is that he believes, and I would assume that this is the truth, that Ymir, the little girl, is the one who's been kind of subconsciously maybe leading him here. Um, and that goes with the title of the first and second chapter, uh, to you from 2,000 years ago, from 2,000 years ago to you, or whatever the first and this chapter are called. Um, and I think that that's a plausible theory, uh, mostly because it's not a fan theory, it's Aaron's theory. It's like, you've been leading me here this whole time. Like, you wanted me to do this, to kind of give you the freedom, to not be controlled by royal blood. And then she opens up her eyes, and you could see the tears start to form. And as the tears start rolling down, she has like this frowning, just like fucked up face of like crying, similar to how Aaron was, and similar to what we saw Freda looking in the mirror. Uh, so like this expression was definitely foreshadowed to a point where I feel like she's been trying to do this for a while. And then bam, back to the real world. Aaron's head literally in Zeke's hand, with the Titan body starting to form out of him. It looks like a freaking snake. It's really badass. Uh, Mikasa and Armin are about to fuck Peak in the asshole, and the walls start to crumble. So I'm hoping Mikasa makes it out of there, but she's pretty badass. So even with the Colossals, it's not like we're going to get a colossal explosion with them. The walls are crumbling, and they show you that. The walls are crumbling around them, and they're breaking free. So I think she can get out of there, even if she just goes colossal to colossal. Armin will be fine. He's a Titan shifter. Peak, I hope fucking fuck Peak. Like, she's a fucking piece of shit. And then Gabby on her ass getting that fucking recoil from the rifle. She's like, fuck, dude, I thought I just fucking killed Aaron and like saved the world and won the war. And the walls start crumbling, and Gabby is shitting her pants. I'm surprised he didn't draw shit on the floor. And an interesting thing, Aaron's Titan starts to form, but it's looking like it's forming from the ground, not from the nape. So a lot of people believe that because like you don't see it kind of forming from the nape, or from, his body from the nape, that he's going into a more of a Warhammer Titan form where he's going to reside in a crystal attached to the nape. I also think that he literally is forming from his head, not his whole body. Like, it kind of happened from his head. Uh, so that could be it. And some people think he's going to get a full all nine founding Titan form, where basically similar to the founder Ymir's. Anyway, that is chapter 122. I hope that you give it a read yourself and enjoy it. And that if you enjoy our kind of recap reviews of what's going on in this shit, uh, give us a like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of the chapter. If you think that we're ever going to find out like how the Titan powers actually work, where this parasite came from. Is the original King Fritz literally the biggest piece of shit ever to exist in the entire Attack on Titan universe? I say yes, but who knows? He's a fucking douche. Yeah, so leave a comment, ask me a question, answer the questions that I gave you, and fuck shit up. Peace.